Okay, fine.
Yeah, fine.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Okay. So now the screen is here. So it is written here what is container. Don't go by the definition now. Let us understand what the problem is happen in the earlier while we are deploying the application and why containers comes into the market. Okay. So hope all of you are able to see my screen, one picture, one diagram. Let me go to that particular diagram. Just 1 second. Yes. Okay. So hope you are able to see my screen now. Is it
Yes.
okay? So now let us start with what is container. Okay. So 5-10 years back, we deployed the application. You can see in the figure, I just draw three diagrams. One, I wrote traditional processes. Second diagram is nothing but the containers share the operating system kernel layer. And third diagram, it is written over there, virtualization, share only the hardware. Okay. So 5-10 years back, we deploy the application onto the physical host. Then we are moving towards the virtualization. On top of the virtual machine, we deploy the application. Then what is container? What is container? Why we are saying what is container? So some people say that a Docker container, but it's a different terminology. Using Docker, you can start, stop, create the container, log out from the container. It's simply a tool to pull the images, basically publish the images, means registry. Now we understand the container in various way. So I will define the container in the three perspective. So three ways I can define the container. First, I am going to define the container in the operating system perspective. Next, we all are the system administrator here. How I can define the system administrator perspective, what exactly the container is. Then I am moving towards the developer perspective. Developer perspective, how we can define what exactly the container. Okay. So if I can say, you just see the picture. Okay. In the virtualization or traditional processes, first I am starting with the traditional processes. Software applications typically depend on other libraries and configuration files or services that are provided by the runtime environment. The traditional runtime environment for a software application is a physical host or a virtual machine, and the application dependency are installed as part of the host. For example, if I can say, consider a Python application that required access to a common shared library that implements the TLS protocol. Traditionally, system administrator install the required package that provides the shared library before installing the Python application. What is the drawback? What the challenge they are facing? The major drawback to traditionally deployed software application is that application dependency are entangled with the runtime environment. An application may break when any updates or patches are applied to the base operating system. For example, our operating system update to the TLS shared library remove the TLS 1.0 as a supported protocol. This breaks the developed Python application. Why? Because it is written to use the TLS 1.0 protocol for the network request. This forces the system administrator to roll back the OS update to keep the application running and preventing the other application. Okay, so preventing the other applications from using the benefits of the updated packages. Therefore, company developing traditional software application may require full set of tests to guarantee that run on the OS update doesn't affect application running on the host. Okay, so thing is, what we understand in traditional operating system, if we are running application 1 and application 2. Okay, if application 1 libraries is not supported, application 2 is not supported, one application going to be fall down. So what the solution? We are moving towards the virtualization. What is virtualization then? Virtualization is nothing but on top of single operating system, Okay, you can see host operating system. On top of single operating system, you can run multiple operating system simultaneously, and the task is isolated from each other. Okay, so we are using what? VMware, we are using Oracle VirtualBox for the virtualization. So what we are doing, on top of single operating system, we are running multiple operating systems simultaneously, and the task is isolated from each other. So what happened in the virtualization, and what is the difference between the virtualization and containerized application? Yes, what is the difference between the virtualization and containerized application? I can run on top of the host operating system. If I am using the Linux OS, I can use the hypervisor. Then I have to kernel virtual machine. I can run multiple operating system, multiple virtual machine on top of my single operating system. Or I can use the VMware, or I can use the Oracle VirtualBox, but I can run multiple operating system. So why we are moving towards the containers? Why
Because
not?
in
What?
this case, we can share the VM as well to use the resources more efficiently. Like, for example, one application will not be using the entire CPU and memory for a particular VM, but we can just divide it as per the application in by using different containers.
Yes. So a traditionally deployed application, what I can say, a traditionally deployed application must be stopped before updating the associated dependency. To minimize the application downtime, organization design and implement complex system to provide high availability of other application, and maintaining multiple application on a single host often become, it's a complicated process, and any deployment or update has a potential break one of the organization application. So what we have to do? Alternatively, a software application can be deployed using a container. A container is a set of one or more processes that are isolated from the rest of the system. Containers provide many of the same benefit as the virtual machine, such as security, storage, network isolation. But containers require far fewer hardware resources and are quick to start and terminate. If you are seeing in this picture, in the virtualization environment, this is one operating system. You are loaded. Again, you have to, on top of your host operating system, you are loaded one more operating system, one more virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, multiple operating system. So it will require what? More hardware resources. But if you come to the container picture, what it will do? It will share the OS kernel layer. Okay, so you no need to on the host operating system. Let me define the definition. As per the operating system perspective, container is a process. Okay, container is a process which is running inside the sandbox, and container processes are completely isolated from host operating system. So what is the term refers to the host operating system? The host operating system refers to your physical machine. It refers to the virtual machine, private cloud, public cloud based instance. Container basically deploy anywhere. So as a operating system perspective, we understand that container is just a process. Container is just a process which is running inside the sandbox, and container processes are completely isolated. What are the container processes? In this host operating system, either the host operating system is a physical machine or a virtual machine, or you can say any private or public cloud. Okay, so the container processes are isolated. Okay, completely isolated from this host operating system. How they are isolated? So container is using the technology that is called namespace. Okay, it is using a technology namespace. Namespace virtualize and isolate all the system resources. All the system resources in the sense your process ID, your group ID, file system, interprocess communication, or network ID between the host and the container. All these are isolated from the host operating system with the help of namespace. Second is who will manage the container resources. So there is a C group or control group. It will manage the resources inside the container. Means what are the resources? How much how much CPU, how much memory, how much storage the container consume. Okay. So these are managed by whom? By the C group. Next is who will provide the security to my container application. So there is AC Linux. Secure enhanced Linux give the security to the containerized application. So in a single nutshell, as a operating system perspective, if I am going to define what is a container, container is just a process which is running inside the sandbox, and container processes are completely isolated from the host operating system. Next, how I define as a system admin perspective. We all are system admin. How I define what is a container is. So as a system admin perspective, container is just an application. Container is just an application. Application can be Java, Perl, Node.js, or you can say MySQL, PostgreSQL. Okay, so any type of application, any middleware application, any database application, or you can say Java, Perl, PHP. Okay, so which is portable in different environment. Application can be deployed on physical machine, on the virtual environment, or any private public cloud based instance. Okay, so here one point I just make a pause. Portability. Portability is the beauty of container. Why? Means we can portability is the beauty of container means we can build and ship the containerized application anywhere anytime. Why? It is required low footprint hardware, means it consume very less resources, CPU, memory, virtual memory, etc. Okay, so as a system admin perspective, container is just an application. Next, if I am going to define as a developer perspective, as a developer perspective, what is container? So how we are packaging the application, how we are building the application, means how we are defining the code dependency, how we are building the images. And images means what? Images having the universal format or the custom image, so our application image. So how we can use the docker file, inside that all the dependency, all the application in packaging format. So as a developer perspective, how you are packaging the application, how you are packaging the application, how you are building the application, we can define the containers. Okay, so this is the definition of container. Next is what? OpenShift. Because in the tagline in the first slide, okay, I mentioned the smartest way to develop and deploy the containerized application. So in this course we are discussing the high level overview of what OpenShift is. So what is OpenShift? This is, we understand, this is container. We are container we are defined as a Docker is not a container. Docker is a tool. Okay, now we are explaining what is OpenShift. Yes, any concern you want to join this course, might be you have to know this word from somewhere. So what exactly OpenShift is? Yes.
Container orchestration tool.
Okay, then uh, can, in Docker also we can managing the containers. So why OpenShift? Orchestration tool, if you can say, Kubernetes is there. So why OpenShift? Because someone of here certified the Kubernetes. So what Red Hat OpenShift will do? So Red Hat OpenShift Container Platform is a set of modular components and services built on top of the Red Hat Core OS and Kubernetes. Red Hat OpenShift Container Platform adds the platform as a service capability such as remote management, increase the security, monitoring and auditing, application lifecycle management, and self service interface for the developer. That's why it is a smartest way to develop and deploy the application. Okay, it is a smartest way to develop and deploy the application. So now we understand, okay, OpenShift is a Red Hat platform as a service offering. So why not Docker? Docker is also run the containerized application. Yes, so why not a Docker? Why we are going for OpenShift or Kubernetes as such? So Docker can create a containerized application, or Docker can orchestrate a container. All right, but Docker is inherently not capable of orchestrating. You are using a terminology Docker. Okay, so Docker is inherently not capable of orchestrating a containerized application. Means if suppose I want to my container somehow it fail or my container die, and we expect that automatically a new container will come up, because that is the necessity of the enterprise class application, and Docker has not a capable of auto healing.
What are
Multi
you Docker Swarm?
Yes,
Docker Swarm.
Docker Swarm, Docker Compose, it will not give. I will come to that point. Once the container dies, please put your queries in the chat box as well if you are any other queries. Okay. So once the container die, our expectation is it automatically a new container will come up, because that is the necessity of the enterprise class application, and Docker has not capable of auto healing. Second is what? Multiple replica cannot do auto scaling with the help of Docker. Okay, multiple replicas cannot do auto scaling with the help of Docker. So what is the solution? Solution is for orchestrating, solution is Kubernetes, and OpenShift itself a Kubernetes distribution as such. If we are developing an application, okay, so DevOps challenges for multiple containers is first challenge how we scale. Okay, how to scale, how to avoid the port conflicts. Okay, how to manage them on multiple hosts, what happen if the host has trouble, how to keep them running into 24 into 7, how to update them, rebuild the container images. So all these things are done with the help of OpenShift, with the help of OpenShift. Clear? So now next slide I just move. Okay, so OpenShift is nothing but the container platform. Okay, so it is nothing but what? Red Hat OpenShift container platform is a set of modular components and services built on top of Red Hat Core OS. In our course curriculum, I will explain you what is Core OS. Earlier version of OpenShift up to 3.11, not in the 4. series. We can run our OpenShift, or we can build our OpenShift cluster on the Red Hat Enterprise Linux. But now OpenShift 4.x onwards, 4.0 version onwards, OpenShift is running on top of the Red Hat Core OS. Core OS is nothing but a container Linux, and it is, as I said, it is a distribution of Kubernetes as such. Okay, so if I am orchestrating with the Kubernetes, what is the benefit of OpenShift? Okay, because I can scale my application, I can orchestrate my application with the help of Kubernetes. What OpenShift give? What additional support OpenShift give? So OpenShift adds support for the developer tools such as source control management built in. So OpenShift is built in integration with the source control management software like GitHub. OpenShift has built-in integration with the pipelines that help the developer rapidly and consistently develop, build, and test the deployment application. Third is what? OpenShift help manages the container runtime images. Each and every terminology we can explain in our course curriculum first chapter. So OpenShift helps manage the container runtime images by providing the built-in registry. Okay, OpenShift come with the support of software defined networking. Next point, OpenShift is API centric, means it has rich in well document and set of API that help us easily to integrate OpenShift with our existing infrastructure. Last but not the least, OpenShift provides out of the box support for the project, for the teams means groups and users, to organize and manage access to the application. We will look each of these, whatever one point I said, each of these in depth in later in our course discussion. Okay, so that the OpenShift give are supported, that's why we have to go for the OpenShift. Even if we are knowing Kubernetes, under the hood of OpenShift we are using the Kubernetes resources. Yes, please. So please go mute, those who are not communicating. Yes, so what we have to do, OpenShift is nothing but what, it is a Red Hat on premises platform as a service. Okay, so next I move to the slide. Next slide. So this is okay, I will go to come to this slide once I make you clear the architecture of OpenShift. Okay, so to understand OpenShift, you can understand the architecture. In our OpenShift cluster, okay, in our OpenShift cluster, there are two types of nodes are there. What are the two types of nodes? Yes, one is called the master node, second one key is called the worker node. Okay, so I will show that diagram first, then we can, it is easy to understand. Okay, so this is the Kubernetes diagram I make, and this slide is the OpenShift diagram. So let me start with the Kubernetes. In place of kubectl we can use the OC command line utility. In Kubernetes, just the name change, OpenShift client, there we are using kubectl, and we are browsing our application in the web console or dashboard. So how our OpenShift cluster work? In the OpenShift cluster, there is two types of node. One is called the master node, second one is called the worker node. So in the picture you can see here, one is master, worker node 1 or worker node 2. So what is this master node? Master node, some people can say, in the master server where you are configuring OpenShift, in that master server, control plane components are running. The next question, what are the control plane components? Scheduler, controller, etcd, API server. So these all four are the control plane components in OpenShift. So what exactly the OpenShift master do? What is the Kube API server? So the API server, when a user, so you can see this diagram. Okay, when a user usually interact with the API server, I don't directly, if you want to connect to your cluster, what is the first step you have to follow? Suppose is in your organization you want to deploy one project. Okay, in a, you want to deploy one application in a project, so you want to log into the cluster. The first step is what? How you are log into the cluster? With the authentication token? Yes or no? First, your job is user usually interact with the API server. API server is the only interface where we develop, okay, where the developers and system administrator communicate with the master. And once we make a communication to create a container, let's say, then the once I just communicate, I want to run my container. Okay, so how I will communicate? I will communicate with the API server. Okay, any users, developers, or system administrator, okay, they communicate with the master, and once we make a communication to create a container, let's say, then the API server instantly create a desired state of configuration where? In the etcd. Okay, you are coming with your requirement, I want to run my container. So API server next communicate to etcd. So what is etcd? Etcd is a database where all the configuration required are stored. Instantly the controller comes to know. Okay, here the controller comes to know that yes, a new desired state is requirement has come up. Then the controller communicates to the scheduler that which one is the best system for orchestrating my container. You cannot say my application is running on worker node 1 or worker node 2. Okay, who will decide? Scheduler will decide. Okay, when you are contacting to the API server, all the configuration is stored in a database etcd. Then controller communicate with the scheduler. What scheduler will do? Okay, the scheduler is that which one is the, it will check which one is the best system for orchestrating your container. Immediately the scheduler communicate. How the scheduler know where I have to run this application, containerized application, in which node? So scheduler will using some algorithm, some pod scheduling algorithm. Okay, some it will check some tent and tolerations of the nodes, or it will check the size and capacity. Then it will decide that where the application is going to be run. That is the job of the scheduler. But how the scheduler know that worker node 1, worker node 2, or multiple nodes in my cluster, which node is suitable? How the scheduler will communicate? The scheduler will communicate with kubelet, not directly. None of the control plane components directly communicate with the node components. They can update through the API server. API server communicate to the kubelet. So what is kubelet now? So kubelet is an agent that run in the cluster. Okay, run on each node. Okay, kubelet is an agent that run on each node in a cluster. It listen for the instruction from the kube API server and deploy and destroy the container on the node when it is required. And the kube API server fetch the status report periodically from the kubelet to monitor the status of the node and the containers on them. Okay, so if scheduler want to decide, okay, I want to schedule this application, because when the request is coming, scheduler will tell that this application run on which node. So when the scheduler identify the container need to be placed on which node, based on its size, based on its capacity, how many containers are already there on that particular node, certain condition like type of container, which type of container it will allow, any permission is required, it is identify the right node to place a container on the container resource requirement, the worker node capacity, any other policy constraints such as node affinity rules or performance that we will discuss in our course curriculum. So scheduler will using the algorithm filtering the nodes, affinity rule, anti affinity rule. Then it will decide that where your application is running, and who will, so who will take care, how the node will know, how the node status the master server will know, with the help of kubelet. Kubelet is an agent that runs on each node in the cluster. It listens for the instruction from the kube API server and deploy and destroy the container on the node when the requirement is coming. And kube API server fetch the status report periodically from the kubelet to monitor the status of the node and the containers on them. Then what is kube proxy? We understand that API server request is coming. Okay, then etcd is a database that stored all the resource definition. Controller, it will manage the, what is controller? Controller manager. What is the controller here? The controllers are available to take care of different area, like the node container, node controller will take care of the node. if the node become unavailable or get destroyed, and the replication controllers, or you can say the replication controller, another type of controller that assure that a desired number of containers is running at all the time, so that is called the controller. Scheduler will schedule, okay, where my application is going to be deployed, in which particular node it is going to be deployed. Then kubelet is nothing but,
Excuse me, madam.
yes please.
Arindam here. Here, node means the worker nodes. Controller check the worker nodes is available, not.
Node controller will check, okay. You cannot say that master and worker node, I am telling two types of there. You
Hmm.
can say, can I configure my master node as a worker node? Because
Yeah, yeah,
if,
yeah. Hmm.
if you have a query, if my master node goes down, so
Yeah.
what will happen? Yes or no? So at that time, I'm not specific here, I'm telling that in OpenShift, the control plane components, the four
Okay.
control plane components are API server, scheduler,
Hmm.
controller, and etcd. These are four static pods. These
Yeah,
are
yeah.
four static pods,
Like a
okay.
name node in Hadoop. Name node in
Yes.
Hadoop. Yes, I was working in Hadoop
Okay.
actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So you don't distinguish that in master
Hmm.
means I cannot. If
Okay.
if your master multi-master is there, okay, one
Hmm.
master goes down, other master
Scums
take
is
care of
there.
that.
This
Yes,
Hadoop 2
okay.
is there. Hmm.
Yes, so that
QJM.
that way we can define. Okay,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
am
This is
telling,
a later. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, madam. Continue, please. Thank you.
Thank you for raising this question. Okay, so kubelet is what? Kubelet is a agent that run on each node. I am telling, not I am telling that run in each worker node. To make you understand clear, I am configuring in this picture one master and two worker node. If master node goes down, worker node are not able to work. But in our course curriculum, it is a multi-master cluster. Three master are the three compute node or worker node, okay. How I distinguish, how I say that none of the application can run in my master node, how I make schedulable false, that we will discuss in our in the pod scheduling chapter, okay. Clear? Next, what is kube proxy? What is in this OpenShift architecture? What is, we understand kubelet is a agent that run on each node in the cluster, and it listens the instruction from the kube API server and deploy and destroy the container on the node when it is required. Kube API servers always fetch, I cannot, none of the control plane components directly cannot communicate with the worker node, they are communicate with the API server. API server fetch the status report periodically from the kubelet to monitor the status of the node or the containers on them. Okay. Then what is the use of kube proxy? One component you can see here, kube proxy. What is that? Kube proxy is a network proxy that run on each node in your cluster, implementing a part of Kubernetes service concept. Kube proxy maintain network rule on the nodes. As your system administrator, it is easy to understand. I am saying, for example, IP tables. Those are RHL 6 certified. If any candidates are here, those who are RHL 7 and 8, farewell rules. You are writing the farewell rules to allow some host, to deny some host. You are adding some rules. Similar way, Kube proxy is a network proxy that run on each node in your cluster, implementing a part of Kubernetes service concept. You don't bother about what is service. I will demonstrate at the time of networking. OpenShift networking, what is software defined networking. I can use the terminology with the example. So Kube proxy maintains the network rule on the nodes. These network rules allow the network communication to your pods from the network session inside or outside of your cluster. Suppose if some application, some of the pods are running in this node, some of the pods are running in this worker node too. So how they will communicate? How they will interact with each other? If I want to restrict some pod, how I can write the rules? This all things is done with the kube proxy resources that is running on each node in your cluster. Okay. Next is what? Docker. This is the old architecture written is Docker up to OpenShift 3.9 or 3.11 max. 4 is not only the Docker, it will supported various container runtime initiative. Any idea about what is OCI? Open Container Initiative? Yes, Open Container Initiative. To get the containers, earlier we are using the Docker, okay, Docker registry, or we have to start a daemon and Docker service daemon with the systemctl command, then we are getting the container images and we run our application. So now OpenShift comes with the CRI, container runtime initiative, you can say, or open container initiative. What exactly that? Any
So
idea?
that we can use any container technology, not dependent on Docker only.
Yes, so for example, Rocket,
Container D.
Drawbridge,
Huh. Yes.
Alexis. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
these all are what now. What is the disadvantages? If you can say why Red Hat is using a tool, we are using the Docker pull. It is fine. We are getting the images from any registry. Okay, registry means what? Okay, each and every terminology we have to clear first before the session is going to be started. Okay, what is registry? What exactly image? How we get that image from the registry? Okay, how we log into the registry using the Docker tool, and why Red Hat is developed a tool called Podman. I hope some of you are exposed to the tool Podman. What is the difference between this Podman and Docker? Remember that in the Docker you have to start and stop the service. There is a background daemon is running, systemctl start Docker service. If you want to block any registry, allow any registry in the configuration file, what you have to do, you have to start and stop the registry. But using the Red Hat tool Podman, there is, it is working like your yum repository. There is no daemon is running at the back end. Okay, so it is easier tool to manage your container images. And now in OpenShift 4 version, it is used what? Container runtime initiative. Docker, okay, not Docker is not excluded, I'm saying Docker, Rocket, okay, Drawbridge, Alexi, whatever your organization use, you can get the images. And what your application is running in the node, what is that unit? That is called pods. Okay, in the pods you can run your containers. Okay, so this pod is consuming the node resources. This pod is consuming the node resources. Clear? So now I will show the OpenShift architecture. Now see here, so once a developer come with the source code, source control management, Git or any Git repository, I'm getting the source code. So how I deploy the application in OpenShift? That also we are going to discuss how to deploy the application using OpenShift. What is the OpenShift client command? What is OC? What is OC? From which package I am getting that command? How we can deploy my application? So if I am asking some candidates are here, how you deploy an application in Kubernetes? I want to deploy an application on Kubernetes. Using Kubernetes, I want to deploy one application from a container image, Nginx application, or you can say PHP application. How? Kubectl run command. Okay, similarly here you are using a OpenShift client command. So in the master node API application, we have to, there is 4 control plane components: API, then data store is what? It's CD. It is nothing but a database that store the value in a key value format. Okay, that's why the default file format that OpenShift support is what? The default file format is YAML file format or JSON file format. And etcd store, okay, etcd database store all the resource definition. Means what is the resource definition? Now I want to deploy a container application. What is my image? Where I have to deploy? Which project? So project is project is a resource in OpenShift. How I run my application? Pod is a resource. In which node I am running my application? Node is a resource. Then how many replicas are running? Suppose I want that 5 application. I want to same application. I want to clone it. 5 replicas I have to create. So all this resource definition stored where? From which image? What is the version of the image? Okay, it's stored in a key value format in the etcd database. Next is what? Scheduler. Scheduler, what it will do? Scheduler identify the container need to be placed on which node based on its size, its capacity, how many containers already on the node. Okay, and it will check with certain condition, or it will follow some node affinity rule, follow some policy and constraints, okay, and performance, etc. Then it will schedule your application on a particular node. Next is what? Replication controller or management. Who will do the management? Controllers. Kubernetes. So Kubernetes, what it will do? Kubernetes is doing the orchestration. Okay, so Kubernetes node is master node is a node server that manages the control plane in a Kubernetes cluster. Master nodes provide basic cluster services such as API or controllers. Node is what? A server that hosts the application in a Kubernetes cluster. Okay, worker node is what? Worker node, also named as the compute node. Worker node execute workload of the for the cluster. Application pods are scheduled onto the worker node. Application pods, I'm using a terminology, application pods. Okay, application pods are scheduled onto the worker node. Resources, what is resources? I'm telling that all the resources are stored in the etcd. So resources are the kind of component definition managed by Kubernetes resources. Contain the configuration of managed component. For example, what is the role assigned to a node? What is the current state of the component? Okay, node is available or not. These all are called the resource definition. What is controller? Controller is a Kubernetes process that watches the resources and makes the changes, attempting to move to the current state towards the desired state. Suppose I am telling that I am running a HTTP application, I am cloning a 5 replica. One replica deleted. Suppose someone deleted. One pod is deleted because pods are created at any time, destroyed at any time. Okay, so if it is deleted, automatically who will maintain the desired number of pods are running at all the time? I create my replica is 5, means at any time you delete, automatically one more is created. So how the things is happen? Okay, so how the things is happen with the replication controller, how it will manage that a desired count of applications are always running in your cluster. So this all part we are seeing practically in our course curriculum. Okay, clear? And in this picture you are seeing one infra node is there and infra node is there. What is that infra node? We just understand master node and some of the worker node. Master node, we are pretty sure that that is must be installed on top of the core operating system. Okay, core operating system, it's nothing but a container Linux. Okay, in the master node we are running the control plane components. Second is what? Worker nodes or nodes where we are running our application pod. Then what is infra node in this picture? A node server containing the infrastructure services like monitoring, logging, and external routing. DNS server I have to configure. If I want to expose my application outside my OpenShift cluster, okay, what route path I have to use? Okay, I want to use which monitoring tool? In OpenShift 4, it is used by default Prometheus. Okay, so if any other monitoring tool in the earlier version, we are using some of the monitoring metrics and monitoring tool to health check of your cluster. So infra node is nothing but a node server containing the infrastructure services, and outside the cluster, what you are seeing? Storage. Okay, why outside the cluster? Remember that container storage is what? Ephemeral. Container storage is what? Ephemeral in nature, means temporary in nature. So to make the container storage persistent, you can configure. You are using the Kubernetes resources, how we can manage the dynamic storage, how we can use the static storage with the by creating the persistent volume and persistent volume claim. This all definition we have to discuss, but not in this demo session. Okay, clear? Okay, so I'm getting some chat messages. Let me look onto that. Okay, I know OpenShift 3.9. Can I give EX280 on version 3.9, or I need to prepare OpenShift 4.5? Okay, I will come to this point. Node means workers. Node means not worker. Okay, we are just to distinguish the terminology. Node is nothing but where the application pods are running. Okay, so Sabyasachi, this is the answer I want to say. And Surya Prakash, what is the mechanism scheduler uses to find the best fit to deploy the pod? Okay, they are using the algorithm. Okay, they are using the rules, affinity rules and anti-affinity rules. Okay, the if all the score when it will score score fold card is there, and if all the score is same, it will take randomly. Okay, it will take randomly to schedule a pod in a specific node. Okay, next is what is the mechanism scheduler uses find and best fit. That I'm saying, one is filtering of nodes, second step is prioritization. Second step prioritization means it will check the priority where to schedule. Okay, and using the formula affinity and anti-affinity rule, means we have to see in our course curriculum what is availability zone, what is region, how I select a particular node with the node selector to schedule a pod on that particular node, or how we drain our application if I want to do any upgradation on a particular node, that we have to discuss in more. And next question from Abhishek, what is the component, what is the competitors of OpenShift? Yes, competitors, I cannot say competitors, yes, but we are using the Kubernetes resources, and yes, uh, it is giving the advantages over the Kubernetes. As I said, it will manage with the Git version control system, CI/CD pip integrated with the CI/CD pipelines, and it will manage the API centric. So definitely OpenShift having boom in market. Okay, yeah, so these are the question I get from the audience. I hope you got your
Yeah, hi.
answers.
Hi.
One more question was there.
One more question can I ask?
Yes, please, welcome.
You said Red Hat has created a set of modules and the services on top of Kubernetes and RHCOS, right? What
Yes,
are those set of modules and services?
what are those?
Modules and services. Additionally, Red Hat created on top of Kubernetes and
Let me go to
RHCOS.
this. Okay, so Red Hat Core OS, on top of that it will support what? Container runtime initiative. You can get the images. Who will do the orchestration and management? Kubernetes will do. Now in OpenShift, we are learning the next thing is what? Operators. Okay, we are using, like in Kubernetes, we are using what? In Kubernetes, we are using namespace. Here, everything, whatever you deploy, you have to deploy in a project. Inside a project, you can manage the resources. When you are going to deploy an application using the OC new up command, then please go mute. Using the OC new up command, three resources. So it is not there always. I am deploying my application from the container image. I am giving the path, deploy the application from the image. You can deploy the application using the template file. You can deploy the application from the S2IE, source to, okay, Okay, so source to image S2I. Suppose my source code is available in the Git repository. I want to build an image and deploy my application. That facility is given by the OpenShift. And yes, OpenShift is now coming with in OpenShift 4. We are learning a new component that is called what? Operators. Okay, operators we have to use. And yes, okay,
What
any
is
kind. Yes.
what is operator means?
What is operator means, I am discussing in a short, but I elaborate in our course curriculum what exactly operator are not only used to deploy and manage a stateful application, but also to set up and manage the OpenShift cluster itself. Suppose, for example, I am saying when you deploy a complex stateful application into a Kubernetes cluster or OpenShift cluster, they need to use some template or Helm chart or some script to automate the initial deployment. The application is deployed for the first time. But how do we manage the changes to it? How do we update the patches for the changes? How do we backup any data? And how do we deal with the lifecycle management or version change, etc.? So all these are what? All these are manual tasks. It is required application operation team to know how to manage the application moving forward. And if it is a manual way, so definitely it is error prone. So, how about if we take all the operational knowledge of the application and put them into a code? This is exactly the use case of operator. So, operator represents human operational knowledge about an application and codified into a software to reliably manage the application. End to end, it will manage the application with the help of operators. As a system admin from the open source community, operatorhub.io, we are installing the operator. Means suppose I am telling some resources. Which resources I am telling? That are the predefined resources. Suppose I am saying pod. I'm saying the deployment configuration. Okay, I'm saying the pod, I'm saying the node or deployment configurations or build or replication controller. These all are what? Predefined resources. Suppose as a developer you want to create one custom resource to manage our cluster. So how you create? How your OpenShift or Kubernetes environment identify this is a resource in our cluster? With the help of operator. So operator represents the human operational knowledge about an application and codified in a software to reliably manage the application. So how someone is identified? We have to discuss what is the CRD, what is custom resource definition. How I will know this is you create a database XYZ database. How you create? Using some Helm chart or using some Ansible ML file. If you are the developer, you know the Go language, you create it. Okay, so that custom resource, how my OpenShift will understand, how my OpenShift will recognize this is a custom resources, this is not the predefined resources. Okay, this is the operator. Okay, that operator will manage. So we have to discuss what is operator lifecycle management, what is operator SDK, what are the tool is used, and the terminology, what is custom resource definition. Clear? What is operator? Unlike your resources, you have to design or install. If you are a developer, you can design. In our course curriculum from the operator hub, there are some Red Hat certified images or other community also provided. The community driven operators we are getting from the marketplace, we can download, and in our classroom we can deploy and run the application, and we'll manage the entire thing, deployment, replication, everything we have to manage with the help of operator. Clear?
So whenever in that case, whenever if you want to upgrade from one version to another version, let's say 4.2 to 4.3, you need to separately upgrade the operators from operator hub.
Yes, Okay, in our cluster you have to manage now also this upgradation 4.2 to 4.3 or any minor version you say or major version. Now the upgradation is using a technology called OTA, over the air upgradation. Okay.
No, no, no. Companies may not use over the air. It's air gap. They don't go for internet, right? It's a restricted network. They
so
don't open. They don't expose their environment to the external world normally.
the general three channels are there. Okay, one of the channel they have to follow. Okay, so for the upgradation stable channel is there, fast channel is there. Okay, so where they are getting the support. Okay, so operators can handle any level of complexity. Basic operator that just deploy an application, little bit better one that will feel manage the upgrades, or operators manage full life cycle that can handle the backups, error failure and recovery, etc. Or you can even go for more complex one that can manage your application based on your metrics that it can collect. So there is a maturity model of operator for the operators itself. Okay, in our course curriculum we have to discuss operator is such a custom controller that watches the custom resources, observe the current state, analyze the current state to the desired state, acts to meet the desired state by deploying and updating an application. In addition, include all the human knowledge to manage the application defined by the CR. Okay, CR is nothing but what, custom resources over its lifetime. Operator interacts with the Kubernetes API. Operators are packages as images and run as a pod. Okay, so that in detail we have to discuss in our course curriculum how to use it. But yes, in this course curriculum we are not using the operator SDK tool. Operator SDK tool is that is provided by the Kubernetes operator framework, which is an open source project using which the user can generate the source code that deals with the Kubernetes API interaction. And the developer for this operators, okay, who can write this code, who is writing this code, can write their custom logic to be generated this operator score folding code. Ultimately the operator developer will create an container image for operator and can make it available for the others to use it. Okay, currently we are using the SDK support three kinds of operator: Helm SDK, Ansible SDK and Go SDK. But yes, that details we are not included in this course. How to install and how to use it we have to demonstrate in our course curriculum, system administrator 2 part of OpenShift. Okay, yes, so let me go to this. These all are the components.
Excuse
Okay,
me.
yes please.
Actually, CK, Certified Kubernetes Administrator and OpenShift Administrator. What is the difference? Here also, in OpenShift also, you are telling about Kubernetes orchestration and all things, Docker, everything you are mentioning in OpenShift also.
Yes, that what I can say here, as I said, what is the certification benefit you are saying, right?
No, no, no. Actually, separate certified Kubernetes administration certification also there.
Yes, CK certification is there. Now is version 1.19. 2 hours of exam is going on. Yes,
In that, they
yes,
are they are telling about Kubernetes orchestration and Docker. They are telling the same points you are discussing in OpenShift also.
yes, definitely. Because under the hood of OpenShift, it is using what? Kubernetes resources. It is
That
using
mean
what? Kubernetes its resources. But OpenShift,
that
yes,
mean a Kubernetes that, cloud initiative, cloud native initiatives. That is a open source. You are integrating in OpenShift, right?
yes. Okay, exactly. OpenShift adds support for the developer tools. Okay, it will give support such as SCM. As I said, if you want to build a source to image, if you want to build, it is built in integration with the SCM softwares like GitHub. OpenShift has built-in integration with the pipelines that helps the developer to rapidly and consistently develop, build, test, and deployment of the application. But under the hood, Kubernetes resources. Pod is a Kubernetes
You know
resource.
the difference?
Service is a, yes,
Auto healing is not there in the Kubernetes. Here in OpenShift, auto healing is there. If any
yes,
part, if any image deletes or crash, automatically it will create like that. You are
yes, yes, exactly. Okay,
But
auto healing is
mean
there. That is, uh,
OpenShift is a superset of CKA.
I cannot say superset, both are in equal. Okay. Now also Kubernetes is going with the Kubernetes operators. It is also Kubernetes is also using the operators. Okay. So in our OpenShift, there is some specific cluster operators are there. Okay. So they are using the same way, but to distinguish, you can understand everything in the OpenShift. We have to make it inside a project. Okay. There is a good control to manage access to the application. In case suppose you deploy one application in a project xyz. Okay, so in that project there is three user are working. Okay, one user you are giving some admin role, one user you are giving some edit role, and one user you are giving the view role. Okay, so you can use the role based access control inside the project. For a same project, someone is having use admin role. Admin role means what? He can manage and all the resources. He can grant the user, okay, this is the user, you have to do this task, you can manage. Okay, I'm not saying cluster admin, in that we are going in details what role based access control. But
Got it.
yes,
Got it.
this
Got it.
OpenShift, okay, OpenShift provides out of the box support for the project teams and users to organize and manage access to the application. We will look each of this, how to give the security context, how to give the capabilities. Okay, so these all things we are in discussing in our course curriculum. Clear?
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
So we need to know, hello.
Yeah,
So we
please.
need to know Kubernetes also.
What I am saying, for this course, okay, might be you get joined bit delayed. For this course, prerequisite is what? Basic or equivalent knowledge of RACSA, means Linux System Administrator course. Certificate is not mandatory. Equivalent knowledge, and yes, equivalent knowledge of containers. How, what is image, what is registry, how we get the images, what are the components. Okay, how to destroy a container. Okay, how we are stopping a container, how we will manage the container, what are the tool. Yes, this is required. Yes, and we are also providing this one prior to the class, this 3 days of training. This is completely 3 days of training. What we have to cover? Okay, 9:30 to 5:30 is the training delivery time. In the day one, we have to discuss about what is static pod, what is the declarative architecture of OpenShift, what is core OS, what is operators. Okay, so Red Hat OpenShift container platform. Then we have discussed verifying the cluster. Verifying the cluster means what? We have to check the node status. If my node is not ready, why? If kubelet is not running, if cryo is not running, my node is not ready. How I will troubleshoot, how I debug the node, how I troubleshoot the area, we have to discuss in chapter 2. Chapter 3, we are discussing the authentication method. When you log into the cluster, which type of authentication we are using? In our course curriculum, various authentication methods are there. If you are deploying on the OpenStack, Keystone authentication method, LDAP authentication method, X509 certificate authentication method. In our course curriculum, how that authenticated user, you are a valid user of my cluster or not. Okay, so we are using the HT password identity provider. Then you ask me, what is the default authentication method in OpenShift? So the default authentication method OpenShift is uses, anyone know? OAuth. OAuth authentication. Okay, so we have to, how to configure the authentication, we have to discuss, including the dynamic and static storage management. Okay, next we have to discuss in the second day of course curriculum, we are discussing how to control the access of the OpenShift resources. Okay, what is role based access control? How a project I want to, how the group of user I am restricting to create a project, how I manage. If I am telling that auto scale is on demand, you can scale up your application, scale down your application manually or automatically. So how it is happen? So if I am telling you can scale up your application, you are telling that for my single application I can create 50 replica. Yes or no? I can use the entire cluster resources. Is it a valid point? So how I restrict with the help of quota, how we managing the resources, that we are going to discuss. Next we discuss the brief on OpenShift networking. What is service? I am using a terminology, kube proxy is there. I am writing some network policy and rule. Service will manages the load balances, but how? What is the cluster IP? What is software defined networking? So this we will discuss. What is network ingress traffic? We have to discuss in our day 2. Day 3 we are discussing about the pod scheduling. I got more messages on the chat box how scheduler will know where to rule, what formula it will apply. Okay, so this all how to do the pod scheduling, this is our chapter 6 and day 2 of discussion. Day 3, manual scaling, auto scaling, performing the cluster updates. This is just but note. We are providing the note. We are not going to do any updates in our course curriculum. Okay. Last is what? Whatever the thing we are practicing with the command line. Can I manage with the dashboard, web console, web UI? Yes. With the example, how do I install the operator? How I manage the authentication? How I manage the role based access control, how I create a user, how I manage the quota, all the things we can using the web console. But prior to that, you must have to know, or we are providing a 2 days of basics of containers. Okay, basic of containers you must have to know. This is the prerequisite for this course. Yes, please.
Madam, this is a 2 days certification course. 3 days
Three,
certification, 3 days
no,
certificate.
no. This is 3 days of training. Okay, you are getting registered, you are getting the blue jeans link from Red Hat, you are getting your book soft copy, you don't distribute with others because it will a copyright version printed with your name. Okay, and they are giving the lab. Okay, because without practical, no one is exposing with any concept. You can doing synchronously with me, or I am explaining, you can simultaneously do with me, or late evening you can complete that task. After that they will give the 90 days lab. So
Hmm.
once this 3 days training is completed,
Hmm.
separate 4 day I am conducting a exam orientation section. So
Hmm.
in that exam orientation we have to discuss what which type of questions are coming, how you are appear, how you are book your exam, what is the validity.
Hmm.
365 days is the validity. You
Hmm.
are getting 1 plus 1 attempt, first attempt in case by
Hmm.
mistakenly,
Hmm. Hmm.
but
Hmm.
none of them. If you are not crack within 90 days, how you
Hmm.
can write the second attempt, how to
Hmm.
use the lab. And in
Hmm.
your course curriculum what the lab is provided, that is
Hmm.
not included your 90 days. Okay,
Okay.
you can
Okay.
unlimitedly use in your 3 days of training lab
Okay.
with you. If you
Hmm.
stuck, immediately you purge me, check madam, check my error, it is not executed, what
Hmm.
error I
Hmm.
did. So
Hmm.
I have control of your labs as well.
Hmm.
Immediately I can troubleshoot where you stuck. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is orientation is not part of 3 days. 3 days only, 9 chapters are there, but
Okay. Great.
prerequisites must done. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I have a couple of queries.
Yeah, please, please.
When you mention scaling up OpenShift cluster, do you use any concept of a machine deployment? I'm talking about the auto
Machine
scaling.
set, machine set,
Uh-huh.
right? Automatical, no, it
Right.
is not there. Okay, only we are using there we are not showing you the matrix installation. It is pre-installation. Installation is already done. Okay, so here we are using the already in our what is the lab you are getting on that installation UPI method of installation, or we are discussing the method of installation, not the installation we are doing. Okay, so yes, that machine set is not here. Okay, how to add a additional node. Okay, auto scaling just with the help of horizontal pod autoscaler, with the help of minimum and maximum CPU in the deployment file, how we edit, how to do auto scale. That is the part of our challenge we will going to discuss, not the machine set, no installation, nothing.
In this course,
So you
what
won't be covering the installation part at all.
No, it is nothing verifying the cluster. They're telling the method, but you don't go for the methods. It's not written clearly in that book. Okay. So, yes, I want to know the installation. So, you need to
Mhm.
wait because the course is going to be launched. Okay. Because these 3 days, these all courses are heavy bundle, vast course. Okay. So 3 days,
Mhm.
9:30 to 5:30, they are not including the installation. Okay. The installation course code is DO322. Okay, it is not
Mhm.
yet released. February end or March first week. Okay, they're releasing the
Mhm.
course DO322 for OpenShift installation method. In that, they're including, according to the customers demanding, UPI installation method. That is nothing but they're using the bare metal and I think vSphere, VMware vSphere they are installing, and the full
Mhm.
stack installation method. They're segregating the course on that. Okay.
Okay, but
what
by
stage
chance, will you be anyways assisting us in just providing some documentation to perform the installation by
Yes,
ourselves, maybe?
you can. It's better if you want to go to do not with the code ready container. Earlier we are doing the mini Swift installation or mini cube. Now it is saying that code ready container. Better documentation. Don't follow here and there. Just visit cloud.redhat.com.
Mhm.
Cloud.redhat.com. If you plan for bare metal installation, how to pull, because now installation is not so easy. Why? One bootstrapping node, it is installed on core OS. Okay, so there you are getting
okay?
line by line documentation. Cloud.redhat.com, or I will follow the referral link, docs.openshift.com, openshift sorry, openshift documentation.com. You can visit that site and follow the steps. It's very accurate.
It's
Okay.
not. It's not
Okay.
straightforward.
Yes, that's why they excluded this course. Why? Because some students, if we show the this is the resources, this is the bare metal. Someone is asking, no, show on me on AWS. Someone is saying, no, I am using the Mac OS. How I use? Okay, so all the steps they're segregating and they're not included in this course training. Okay, in
Okay.
exam also no challenges are there. And yes, you have to it is already pre-installed. You have to do step by step. This is a practical exam. All the question, if you do all the lab and guided exercises of these 3 days of training, then it is very easy to crack the exam within 15 days of practice, hard to hard. If you are engaging with some other stuff also, if you are 15 days after orientation, if you take, definitely you can be certified. But yes, it is not installation. And metrics installation already is there. Okay, now they are removing that one. Okay, and the third thing they are
Mhm.
removing yes, what exactly I will share. Okay, just give me 1 minute, I
Okay.
will share the book what we have to cover.
Okay.
All of you are able to see my screen, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Let
Yep.
me
Yes.
open it. Okay, let me open the PDF. So you are familiar which course what it will contain and what is the prerequisites. So you are feeling comfortable. Till that time, any other query? Yes, please. Because see now
Uh,
networking, according to the student demand, network storage, they are included the dynamic storage network policy in your course. Already it is not there, but yes, as per the student demand, these three part default project template, all these are included for you people. Okay,
What
so
storage you are using in this
so
course for OpenShift?
this is in classroom NFS. Okay,
And
classroom is NFS, as all are familiar with NFS. But yes, you in your organization, any kind of storage OpenShift will support. Okay, Gluster FS, SEP storage. You are all people,
so
you
if
are
I
receiving this
subscribe,
book. Yes, please go ahead.
so if I go for this course, right, will I get any access to Red Hat online training videos?
You are
There are
getting the
training
virtual
sessions from
training
Red Hat.
video. Included mind training. Once the training
Uh-huh.
is done, you are getting a virtual classroom. Okay, Virtual
Mhm.
classroom, unlimited time. You cannot download. One Red Hat trainer is there. He's teaching the
Mhm.
video classroom you are getting, and you can listen it. If any confusion in any chapter, you can listen
So it's
in
a pre-recorded session, right?
pre-recorded session. You
Okay.
are receiving. Okay. So n number of times when you are free, you can listen. See here,
Oh, okay.
prerequisites.
One
All of you are
last.
see.
Sorry. Yeah.
Some are having doubt, if I'm not doing certification, what is required? Either the complete either complete the Red Hat OpenShift 1 containers do. You have the knowledge of containers and Kubernetes basic or equivalent knowledge, and you must have the Red Hat system administrator certification or equivalent knowledge. Okay, if your RHL 6 is expired, equivalent knowledge they are mentioning. Clear? Okay. And what we are going to discuss in this training? So day one, as I said, just container platform feature. What are the other features? Self-service platform, multilingual support, open source automation. Okay. And what is the architecture we are going to discuss? Let me increase bit font size. Yes. So then we are discussing the architecture of OpenShift. What is cluster operator? What is operator? Then verifying the health of the cluster. We are just describing the installation method, how to troubleshoot. Okay. So how to manage the dynamic storage. Even static storage is not there. I will make you familiar with persistent volume and volume claim. Then I will give you the dynamic storage. Authorization, then this is day one. Day two, again three chapter, role based access control, security, all sort of things. Then we have to discuss the SCC, secret, config map, all sort of things. Then we are going to the details of the networking ingress, how to create the secure route, edge termination, pass through termination. Okay. So how to write the network policy. Then sixth chapter is pod scheduling. 7, 8, 9. 9 is you have to do your comprehensive review. How much you are comfortable. If you are unable to do, we together discuss this lab exercise. This is help you all the chapter discussion in a single. Okay. So in the web console, how we are performing the cluster administrator task, how we are managing the workload and operator, that practically we will show in the dashboard as well. So this is the course curriculum. All of you people received this book from the Red Hat on the day one of your learning, and it is very good book giving with practical guided exercises. If error is not there, how you people troubleshoot? So
Madam,
this
how
is
many hours per day is course is?
9:30 to 5:30, including one tea break of 15 minutes, 1 hour of lunch break.
Okay, madam. Okay.
Okay.
It's an
Yeah.
online course totally.
Online course.
I can do my home also.
Yes, but you have to be present. You get a course completion certificate from Red Hat. Okay.
Okay,
And
okay.
yes,
This is
all the
okay.
things you are getting,
Hmm.
book from Red Hat, link from Red Hat.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
All these things.
Hmm.
So this is the course design and this is the course console. If you are comfortable with this, go with this. No, I want to know something about the containers. Yes, course is providing that as well. How, what is the tool podman, what is container image, what is container. Then if you feel free, then you can go for the, this is again the 5 days. Okay. So these 2 days you can understand the basic of containers and Kubernetes, which is the prerequisites. If already people know the Docker or Kubernetes certified, they are working on OpenShift 3.9 version, someone is telling, that then no problem. Okay. So not required the prerequisites. You are quite comfortable in this course. Any query?
I'm like, I don't have knowledge about the containers. So what should I need to do?
So if the course is scheduled, suppose on today, suppose 10, the course I'm telling, for example, 8, 9, you have to sit extra 2 hours, 4 hours. Okay. To complete the prerequisites, to understand the containers. Okay.
Okay.
So
This is
Like earlier
provided by
you
the cost for free
Ye-
of cost to.
yes. I
Okay.
am taking that course. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I am delivering that one.
Hmm.
But yes, I am not providing you the lab for practice. But yes,
Hmm.
I will.
But I can own lab. I can create in
Yes,
home. Yes, okay.
basics
like
you can complete.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm, hmm.
Before
like
joining.
you have mentioned on the prerequisite that there is we need to know the Kubernetes and the one for the containers basic. So
Yes.
we will get the knowledge.
Yes, the
in that one?
containers knowledge, yes. What is required, the basic knowledge, 4 hours you have to join prior to you join your 3 days of training.
Okay.
Okay, we are
Thank
sharing the link, we are conducting the class. Any doubt you can make it clear over there and you can go further.
Ma'am, like you was mentioning about Red Hat core operating system. So means like it is the same Linux one or it is a different kernel we are
It is
using on
just, it is a same Linux, but it is a container Linux. Okay, so core OS
okay.
means what? It is an immutable container Linux. So container Linux, because Red Hat had the core operating system earlier, I think it is Microsoft or a Microsoft product. So container Linux is an open source lightweight operating system based on Linux kernel, designed for providing infrastructure to cluster deployment. While it is focusing on automation, ease of application deployment, security, reliability, scalability. So container Linux provides only the minimal functionalities required for deploy the application inside the software container together with built-in mechanism of service discovery and configuration sharing. Earlier, what in the traditional distribution, package unused, one package unused software that leads to dependency conflict, needlessly increases the surface attack. But core operating system run on most of the cloud providers, virtualization platform, bare metal server. Core operating system support container runtime, all of the popular method of running container. You can choose to interact with the containers at a low level to you a higher level orchestration. That's why we are running the master node components on the Red Hat Core OS. But worker node, after the installation done, if you are using RHEL 7.5 version onwards, no problem at all. Okay,
So immutable means I cannot change anything on the operating system level
inside that,
manually.
inside that you cannot. Okay, so what it is running, what are the software? Suppose you are telling etcd is running, master node means what? etcd is running,
No,
a
no,
controller is running.
not it's if I want to change the NTP on the RHCOS level, can I change?
Yes, what I am saying, immutable infrastructure means what is running inside that, that is running as a container. It is a very lightweight process. Okay, it is a very lightweight process. Suppose suppose I am running some component, master node component is running, that component is run as a container only. Okay, all the things all are running as a container.
No. My question is, let's say 3 master nodes. If I want to change the NTP settings on the 3 master nodes, not container, it's just NTP settings on the master node. It's RHCOS, right?
Yes,
Can I
yes,
go and change NTP settings?
yes, you can change. Okay, you can change. Okay,
Then what is this immutable?
immutable means what? Suppose I am saying the container Linux redefines the operating system as a smaller and more compact Linux distribution. It is a more compact Linux distribution. So earlier, what if any package is unused or any dependency conflict happens, so what it will do? It will increase our attack of surface area. Okay, so that things we are avoided. Okay, immutable nature means inside that you can make, okay, out, suppose anything immutable in nature, so whatever the application is running in the container things, you can change it. How you modify in the container, how you get inside the container. Suppose I want to modify the time synchronize, I want to time synchronize, yes, you can get inside the container. Okay, you can get inside and you can modify it. Okay, it is inside the infrastructure, right?
Actually, by definition, immutable means unable to be changed. You cannot change.
Immutable means you cannot change, but you imagine what you cannot change.
That's what I'm asking. NTP settings, let's RHCOS also must be having NTP, right? If I want to change the NTP setting, let's say today I'm using a different set of NTP servers. Tomorrow I want to use a different set of NTP servers. If I want to update those new NTP servers at RHCOS level, can I go ahead and change?
So see here, master only install the core OS. Core OS is a straight jacket. Once it install, you cannot write anything inside it. In the sense, you cannot edit any configuration setting on this container core OS. If you want to configure inside your container. Got my point? Okay. Immutable means master only install in the core OS. It is a straight jacket. Once it is installed, you cannot write anything inside it. In the sense, you cannot edit any configuration setting on this container core OS. If you want to configure you have to configure inside your container. In the core OS, it is exclusive to master node, all in one in the straight jacket. So by default, there is two services are running, two daemon services are running. What are the two daemon services are running in the core operating system? Kubelet and Cryo. Kubelet and Cryo is running. Okay. Kubelet and Cryo is running, and it is very efficient, very secure. You cannot manipulate with the operating system. If you want to do any changes, you have to configure inside your container. Got it? That's why it is called immutable operating system. Okay. So this is all about today's demonstration. So you please people reach out to course, then we'll update. Okay. So when to start, what is the course duration, 3 days as I mentioned. If you any other query, please you can discuss. So before winding up this session.
Uh, uh, Thanks, Mitali. Am I audible? This is Nityanand.
Yes.
Am I audible to you all?
Yes, audible.
Yeah.
Yes, audible.
Okay. Thank you. As Mitali, is that presentation is covered completely, or still you have anything?
No, it's done from my end.
Okay. Thank you. I have a few information to pass to all the participants. This is basically a training which is controlled, designed, and delivered by Red Hat through a different modus operandi. Hope you all are able to hear me. I repeat, this is designed, developed, and delivered, controlled by Red Hat entirely. So in this COVID situation, Red Hat has given a very good offer, right? While you will be learning from the instructor for 3 full days, Saturday, Sunday, again Saturday. The fourth day will be exclusive for discussion on the examination part, right? What are the things you should understand, how the examination is, more or less related to the questions, what are those comings, because a lot of people are appearing examination when they say I got this question, that question. That actually covers that exclusive day. We will the session will be dedicated for the certification. That is the fourth day. 13th, 14th, 20, 21st is the February 4 days which has been blocked for this training. I am going to raise a purchase order because, as I told you, it is completely through Red Hat. I am going to raise a purchase order by Monday evening. So between today and Monday, whoever interested, they can go for registration. Registration is purely through payment of the training fee. The trainer is Mitali for this particular batch. When you will register, what are the things you will get from Red Hat? One, you will get these 3-4 days of training from the course instructor through a BlueJean link provided by Red Hat. Two, we will make you prepared for the certification. Three, you will get the certification link without any additional payment with 1+1 attempt, which you can clear your examination. 1+1 attempt means failing in the first attempt, the second attempt is absolutely free. When we will raise the purchase order, there will be multiple links you will be getting. One for your training. Those 3 days of training, you will be getting the free lab from Red Hat, which is a 24/7. After training, you can practice on those labs as far as your labs are concerned. After the training is closed, that particular lab will be also wind up. You will give your feedback. Then automatically you will get the participation certificate from Red Hat. That closes the training. Then comes the free video recording class. In this COVID situation, Red Hat has added training with the video recording class, which will be absolutely free for you. And we will share you a promo code. Once you apply, you will get the video recording session by a top-notch Red Hat instructor for 90 days validity. It is not downloadable, but n number of times for all chapters, you can watch those videos and learn out of it. So apart from Mithali's interactive training, you are getting the video recording class of one more Red Hat instructor to make yourself more comfortable and confident on the concepts. While Mithali will also be available if anytime you are practicing any challenge you are facing, we will always there to help to make you troubleshooted. Now, where you will practice? That is the biggest question. You are at home, now the training is happening. Red Hat technology runs in a particular lab. 80 hours of Red Hat lab will be activated from you, apart from those 3 days of training lab. Once done, those 80 hours of lab will be activated, from where you can sit and practice at your own convenient time. That is also valid for 90 days from the date of activation. Now, what is the courseware? The courseware is a digital courseware. On the day one of the training, from your ROL, a link you will get. Mithali will help you to download your courseware on early hours of 13th, which is your first day of the training. The training will happen with a small, 2 tea breaks and a lunch break of 45 minutes and 15 minutes each. It will happen from 9 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. for all these 3 days, and 4 to 5 hours on the 4th day as an examination preparation. So this is all about, yes, because there is a modality, I need to purchase it from Red Hat, and there is a timeline. You need to confirm your, what you can say, your candidature by paying the money. The offer price here is against the training and certification. You are only paying 29,000 plus GST, 18%, which is close to 34,000 rupees as the complete fee for your training plus certification, with 1+1 attempt for your certification. That's all you need to pay. In that, you will get the courseware, you will get the video recording of the class, you will get the instructor training, you will get the 80 hours of lab along with the examination preparation. So that is what I was supposed to discuss with you. If you have any question, you can ask. My number also I can give you here in the chat box, so that you can contact me. We will also try to reach you today, tomorrow on your interest and registration. My name is Nityanand. You can see my number is 970-4456-015. I have already typed in the chat box. My mail ID is. I'm just making sure it will reach to everybody. Are you able to see my number? Mithali, can you type my number, please?
Okay, I will.
Me privately only.
So, okay, I will share here.
And my mail ID is nityananda@cosindia.net. Anybody wants to reach me, they can call me, they can mail me.
Yes, the slides, the notes, everything is sharing, okay, to all the candidates. So no need to worry. Ravi Kiran.
Exam will be on OCP 4.5 or the
Yeah.
Oh,
older version?
4.5. 4.5 only.
One more thing, actually, I supposed to tell you, I missed. You know, the examination can be in two ways. You know, good that Red Hat has come with the remote exam. Once you purchase this modality, you will be entitled for a a pen drive of 16 GB blank pen drive and a external USB based camera. You can collect from us. You can appear this examination from your home as well. And the other part is you can appear this exam from a test center. Let's say you are in a place where there is a test center of Red Hat like COS. You can select that if you are happy, keeping that kiosk, you can select as per your availability and availability slot and you can appear. So two options.
Hi, Nitana, this is
Yeah.
Arindam.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm in Kolkata now. I'm staying at Bangalore, but COVID situation, I'm back at Kolkata. So how can I attend the exam from home?
See, Sabyasachi, this.
Arindam, this is my son's laptop, computer. Sabyasachi. Tell me.
So, as I told you, you can appear your examination from your home also. So, what you
Okay.
need to do, you need to let me know. I will ship you your pen drive and camera. If you have a blank pen drive, anyhow you have. If you have external camera, you need to depend on us also. You can appear the exam from your home. I will one-on-one. I will tell you how it will be, but do separately.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Apart from that, any remote place, if you have a good internet bandwidth, a standard, you have a good machine. I know machine which is not a high-end machine, a standard machine. You can always appear the exam from your home. The second option is, yes, let's say there is a training partner I know in Calcutta where there is a key available. You can select that kiosk.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, right? And you can appear for the examination. It is based on the availability.
Oh, yeah. I'll check that.
Right. I will help it.
Okay.
Even the trainer during the training itself, she will guide you how to book your examination. See, that will be only more interactive when you really get the link. That link you will be getting soon. Once done, you can play with that link. That link is valid for 365 days. Once you will get that link, in 365 days, at any time, you can schedule your exam, and rescheduling is only allowed at before 24 hours of the scheduled date. Right?
Okay.
You can reschedule yourself also. 365 days, both your attempt need to be completed. However, we suggest people to go within 3 months because you need a practical lab to do with. You need, doing those labs by yourself, practicing yourself well to go and get success in the examination. And 80 hours of lab video recording for 3 months is sufficient enough after getting training from our end. Many people have already cracked the examination. Every other day when I'm talking to people, they are telling, yeah, after getting the training and certification, it's in training and this preparation followed by the lab is more than enough to crack this examination. That's what the honest feedback I have received from people. Hope you got my answer.
Additionally, you guys support any exam specific the session after the completion of the course?
Yes, to answer you, yes, on Sunday, after 3 days of training is completed, 13th, 14th, and 20th is your authorized training day. By 13th, 14th, 20th, you will cover all your chapters. 20th evening, your training will be closed. You will mark as closed instructor. Then you will be eligible for the participation certificate. On 21st, again, we will share you a link by 20th night where we will connect for the examination preparation. Discussion on what you should do, what you should not, what is the important part. While during the training itself, she will guide you what is that you can always concentrate thinking that it will come in the testing when you are going for exam. She will again deliberately tell you on that preparation session. It is a 6-hour exclusive session that will be given to you, making you more confident, more approach oriented for your examination. Any other question? Hope I could answer your query.
One from my side, sir.
Yeah, please.
So I'm currently outside India, so I can still register for this and take the exam from a remote country, right?
Yes, you can register as long as you have an Indian RHN ID.
Okay.
That login ID should be an Indian address till you complete the examination. Keep that RHN ID as Indian address from your home address. It should be.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can. You can select the test center. You can select a remote wherever you are. It's a global exam, right? You can select and appear from your home.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
What's your name?
My name is Narayan. Karthik Narayan. I am an ex-student, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I have given my number. You can call me. I will also guide
Yeah,
you.
sure, sir. Definitely. Yeah.
Any other questions from anybody? So almost it is 12:46, 12:45, right? Let's if you do not have any question, thank you all for joining this session. We will be calling you and trying to this thing. Please ping me. That number is also in WhatsApp. You can ping me and confirm your candidature also. You can call me if you have any question. I will like to clarify for each individual.
I have one question.
Yeah, please.
If you are already Red Hat OpenShift certified on 3.7 or 3.6, okay. So how is the upgrade if you want to upgrade to version 4?
So if you certified on 3.9, because there is a massive changes in 3.9 and 4.5, a
Yeah.
lot of things are included. As I said, Cryo is there and Prometheus is implemented by default. Operators are coming in your certification. If it is not expired, still it is there. OpenShift 3.9, then your upgraded version is written on your certificate. One new certificate is issued from Red Hat to you.
How it will be issued?
Like you are certified in which version?
3.9.
So still it is there activated?
Yeah, still active. It's for
Same
2 years, I
same
think,
way.
right?
Yes. So the validity is 3 years. Okay. So
Yeah.
once you are upgraded in 4.5, again you have to get the marks as you get in 3.9. Again, a downloadable certificate is there. You can download, and it is mentioned over there the 4.5 version.
So you mean you have to write to the exam again? New exam?
Yes.
Upgrade.
Yes.
Or there is any upgrade exam or something like that? No.
Nothing like that. Nothing like that. You have to appear the exam. That is called upgradation.
Let me answer this. For all of participants, this is also very good information. I would like to say, in Red Hat, upgradation means there is no separate examination. You have to face the same examination.
Okay.
Yeah, only that your credential will be updated, which was showing 2 years later that date. Once you are certified in 4.5, that day of certification, it will be valid for next 3 years. And your certificate will say that you are version 4.5 certified.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I missed, actually, I joined late. Can you share this PDF?
I will. If you have registered through this Eventbrite link, you will then get a mail wherein this Zoom, complete video recording will be there.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. And same, many things you will find in YouTube also. We will upload into YouTube. You just type COS India, OpenShift, you will get it. Even earlier, all demos we have put it in the public forum. You can see it.
Yeah.
Any other question?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Please reach me. As I told you, by Monday evening, I need to raise the purchase order. So whoever interested, we will call you. Please, ensure I will give you the bank, account detail where you can add it and you can go for it as far as the payment is concerned.
Ma'am, like it's a 3 days training. It's like a real-time scenario.
Mitali, can you answer it?
Hello. Yes. Pardon.
Sorry, ma'am. Actually, I was wondering, like, when we are getting the 3 days training, so it is like a real time scenarios, because I don't have much knowledge in OpenShift, so it will
Yes.
be the real time.
Yes, it's not a story, like it's a webinar. Okay, I am not showing the practicals over here. It is completely practical based training and practical based orientation, or practical based exam, you can say. Okay, whatever you learn the concept, after that Red Hat in your book also, in your lab also, you can do it practically with the guided exercise and lab exercise. Suppose how I know my, what if image is not available, my container is not running, what is the error, how I can troubleshoot. Okay, so in the predefined lab, they're making the lab with a error, so you have to, how I sort out what is the command I have to run, so I fix the issue. Okay, so these all chapters are practical based. Each chapter you have to get a guided exercise and a lab exercises, so to make your concept clear. Okay, in
So
exam also, no option button is there, you have to click, and no just fill in the blanks type. It is completely practical based exam. You are getting a scenario, you have to create a user, you have to create some project, you have to assign some role, you have to mention the quota. All things are practically. Once you are confident in the classroom labs, then only you can crack your exam easily.
Oh, ma'am, like I need to do the system administrator 1 before doing the 2.
If you don't have Linux knowledge, this course, if you directly join, it's risky. You are not gathering all the
No,
concept. Okay.
I have the knowledge, because I did in the course.
Okay. Then why,
But
sir, you are interested again for system administrator course?
no, about this OpenShift system administrator 2 is mentioned now. So like you told me that prerequisite, so we need
Basics of
to.
containers. You are not aware of,
Yeah.
not familiar with that. Yes, definitely. You can join the container session. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Before
you, ma'am.
your class is done, 2 hours, 2 hours in the morning time, we are scheduled for 4 hours. Okay, uh, all of the candidates, if even if they know also, they wish to join, they can. Okay, what exactly, I don't know OpenShift, I don't know the resources, I don't know pod, I don't know what is node. Okay, so all those things I have to clarify before you sit in the 3 days of training. Okay.
So what we will do here is
And
precise.
for that, yes, Red Hat not providing any lab, COS is not providing lab, just all the practical, with the practical demonstration, I will make the clear the basic concept, what container, what is Kubernetes, what is Docker, what is the Podman tool, how I run the image, where it is available, what are the components of the OpenShift. Like I'm discussing master node. First, you have to understand that, yes, this is a node. What is node? I have to understand first. Inside the node, pod are running, but inside the pod, how many container I can run? Okay, so these all the basics we have to cover first. Then we are, what are the disadvantages, why not Docker, why we learn OpenShift, then you system administrator 2 do 280 course, you are feeling comfortable. Okay, yes, that 4 hours is enough. If you want maximum 1 hours, or because I am not telling 4 hours, but it will stretch 2 to 3 hours, I am conducting that part.
What are the
Okay,
timings?
ma'am. Thank you very much.
Once it is scheduled, once your registration done. Okay, suppose sir said that 13, I think I heard. Okay, so before 13, okay, 2 days, morning 7:30
Okay, madam.
Indian standard time. Indian standard time, 7:30 to 9:30, 10 you have to sit. Then you have to schedule your office work, because it is on working days. You have to plan accordingly.
Okay, madam.
Yeah.
Nityanand sir,
So
this
it's
is
in, so it's in the morning times, morning 7:30
Yes, yes,
IST.
yes.
Okay.
So the
So
2
after
days
these
will
3
help you
days classes,
preliminaries.
Nityanand sir, this is Nagesh.
Yeah, Nagesh, tell me.
You are aware I am staying in Kuwait. For us, weekend is Friday and Saturday. Okay. But this class is conducting on Saturday and Sunday. I try to attend, I try to take leave and take the classes for Sunday. But if any emergency, I can take in next batch, right? If
No,
I
you
need.
cannot. You cannot. It is all completely controlled by Red Hat, right? The link will be received from Red Hat.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And you are getting a video recording of the class. Let's say 2 hours you could not. Never mind, you are getting a video recording of the entire session, not Mithali recorded session, but Red Hat instructor recorded session. You have to learn out of it. It is controlled by Red Hat entirely. So once you register, you will get a link from Red Hat, not from COS.
Okay.
Using link from where you will attend, a lab link where you will do the lab, a VC video recording class link where you will watch the videos, a link to download the book that is called ROL. So entirely it is 100% monitored and controlled by Red Hat.
3 days, please try don't to miss these 3 days. Okay. Yes, exam orientation session, if you sit in multiple session, no problem at all. This is from our end. Okay.
I try my side.
Yes, because 3 days, 9:30 to 5:30, Red Hat is observing in the link who are the candidates. They are making the present attendance and provide you the certificate of attendance also. Okay, course completion certificate they will provide as per your attendance.
Okay, madam.
Yeah.
You will submit your feedback, on the training session, then automatically you will be eligible for a participation certificate.
Okay.
Right. So I wish you should not miss. Even if let's say 1 hour you are missing, let's say in a V table, then you are getting a video recording class, right? You will learn that chapter from there. That's the advantage. It is there with you 3 months.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, hi. So after this 3-day training session, will there be any schedule for the practical sessions?
90 days practical lab with you. Okay, 80 hours. Okay, you can practice. You can set your free time whenever you're free. Just all labs I demonstrated in the class as well. So if you stuck, you can ping me. Okay, and I will check where you are stucking and what the error you did. And yes, 80 hours, 90 days you have to utilize that. Once 90 days is done, then I will appear the exam. No, after that where you get the lab in case if you are not crack in the first exam. Okay, I assure that definitely you can, if you practice properly, you can crack in the first attempt itself. Okay, so yes, so you have to manage. Suppose 80 hours is there, I hardly take 30 hours, then I appear the exam next in my hand. So yes, anytime the same lab, same book provided lab, all things are provided from Red Hat.
Okay, so the access will be like 24/7. So anytime we can log in and we can access
Anytime
all the
if you are
practicals.
free, log in, set the timer of 2 hours. Okay, today I will practice for 2 to 3 hours. Just set the timer. When 2 hours is done, it is telling that will you want to continue today? Then your wish. At any time you can sit and practice. Lab is with you, no dependency, no one to call. In your feasible time you can practice. Okay, if you're stuck anywhere, yes, you can ping me. Okay.
I will add to Mithali, for your more clarity. Once you register, we will create a WhatsApp group, right? In that group, if you are stuck, if you need any help, you are unable to activate some lab or anything, we are continuously supporting the student, right? The participant, you will get the answers there itself. So it is a lab which will be with you for next 90 days. Apart from those 3 days of lab, another 80 hours of lab will be activated by Red Hat for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you then. I hope we have done all the queries. We thank you again, all of you, for your patience attending this particular webinar. I wish you have got some insight into this. We will share you the video recording. We will reach you. As I said, my number is 970-44-56015. Do reach me, call me, so that I can give you an extended help. By 5th evening, we should complete the registration to raise the formality with Red Hat, so that you will be ready with all your stuff by 13th morning. Those who are interested, they can ping me. Also, I will reach them.
So I will drop here. Thank you all.
We are closing this recording here. Thank you all. Have a great weekend.